Thank you for joining Effortless Attraction. My name is Evelyn McAleer. I'm the author of A Life You Want, Effortless, and The Woman's Journey. I'm a life coach, business mentor, and inspirational speaker. And my greatest value is making a difference in people's lives. So I hope through these podcasts, I can make a difference to your life. Welcome to another episode of Effortless Attraction. And on today's show, I am joined by Paddy Moran, who is a neuro culture coach. Paddy, you are most welcome today. Thank you for being here.
Good morning, Evelyn. It's good to be here. Good to have a conversation with yourself.
Great. And you know, I'm so looking forward to today's chat because the overall name of the show is Effortless Attraction. But today we're going to talk about effortless authenticity. Paddy, I'm going to start off. We had a discussion one time before, and I wrote down a quote or something that you had said yourself. I'm going to start you off with this one. I don't see what you do, I see you. Would you explain that to us?
The world that we're living in, I see so many people wearing masks and they're coming to work wearing masks. And sometimes we're looking at people, right? And sometimes we're looking at people, but we're looking at their qualifications, okay? And we tend to put people on pedestals. And the other side is we can tend to look and see what people are not doing. So there's a piece of work that I do with companies around inclusion. It's called psychological safety. And this is, where we're encouraging people to bring their whole selves to work. And so when you think of that quote, okay, so I don't see what you do. Okay, so Evelyn, I don't see what you do. I see you this morning. Okay, so I see you as a person, and then I can meet you where you are because you're a person. I'm a person. We don't need to put on these masks. I see it quite a lot in organizations and in the public in general. If we can look at people and look at them as human beings, and it's like it was Declan Kyle that mentioned human beings, not humans doing. So it's about seeing the person, not what they do, not the work that they do, not the qualifications that they have, just meeting the person where they are.
Do you feel though, Paddy, it's something that when people, we're trying to live up to expectation. And if we didn't know each other, hello, Paddy, my name's Evelyn. I'm an author. I'm a podcaster. I'm an inspirational speaker. Do we say these things to create an impression like me for what I do?
Yeah, because there's a lot of impression going on here, and sometimes, Evan, there's a lot of ego at play. So do you think that if I was coming on to your podcast this morning and putting you on this pedestal, I would probably show up as someone who I'm really not. Okay. So yeah, I think I do believe that there are people who are using, say, the mass, the order, and this is all amazing work. This is because we need to celebrate what we do as well. So this is not about hiding what we do, but it's about us showing up just as us. Okay, let's park the ego. Okay, because if there's ego attached to you, you're trying to be someone who you're not. If there's ego attached to me, I'm trying to be someone who I'm not. And then it's all false.
I remember that actually I've done it myself, hands up. I remember meeting someone that I admired greatly, and I had them on a pedestal because I saw what they'd done rather than them as a person. And I think I remember our first connection. I was like, I have done this and I have done that. And I was showing them photographs. And the person that I was speaking to, very, very humble. They don't see titles. They don't see what people have done. They see that quote, I see you. And they said to me, Evelyn, you are much more than that. And I often think there's a quote that Wayne Dyer had. If I believe that I am that, what am I when I am not that? So when you spoke about the ego there, Paddy, and I know sometimes we see the ego as people, they have a big head about themselves. They think mighty about themselves, but the egoic part of ourselves attaches to many things. So if I believe that I am all these things. Who am I and what am I when I am not? So, Paddy, you work with teams, you go into organizations, you work with the culture in team environments. What is your mission when you step into those environments?
Yeah, my mission, I'm all about connection. So one of my values is connection. I just love connecting with people. So when I go into organizations, I, every day I wake up and go, okay, so my job today is connect teams, to connect leaders, so to connect them together, connect them to the company goals, connect them to the company vision. So for me, it's all about this connection. Okay, so how do I connect the team so they can perform at a much higher level and enjoy what they're doing? Key word there, enjoy what we're doing, because culture is how, sometimes people think of culture and, you know, I think it's like this pink and fluffy thing. Okay. Culture is real. Culture is how we do our work together. It's a set of shared habits. And when we can get a team working together, that's when the magic happens. So for me going in, it's all about connecting the teams, connecting them to a sense of purpose, because we're spending most of our life in work. So so I'm on a mission to make organizations more human. So let's bring our whole selves to work. And yes, we have the qualifications and they're required, but let's see the real people, their true selves. So
Mm.
that's just be my mission every single day, Evelyn.
And what a great mission it is. Do you feel sometimes that we have bosses or organizations will feel, well, I value there's your pay. I value there's a great canteen for you. And that's as far as we can possibly see, that you should be happy enough coming into your work. You're getting good pay. You have great facilities for having your dinner in. Does there need to be a bit more? Are people wanting more fulfillment from what it is that they're doing?
Absolutely, 100%. So it's fantastic when you go into these organizations when they've got great facilities, they've got the snooker tables or the dartboards or ping pong tables. A lot of small organizations can't afford to do this. Okay, so having all these facilities is amazing, but it's not enough, because we need to feel a connection. I can't connect to a snooker table. I can't connect to a ping pong table, and it's only something that I get to do on my break. So people are looking for more fulfillment. We look for fulfillment outside work, but inside work, it's the very same. So, we bring, we're not living in the 1970s, 1980s anymore. We bring our hearts and emotions to work. Okay. I remember when I first started working, and I would have heard certain things like, oh, leave your emotions at the door, park that at the door. Like, wouldn't it be wonderful if we just had this little button in our brain that we just go, oh, I'm just going to turn off my emotions for the day and be a robot. So people are looking for more. And for me, this more is all about meaning. It's all about connection to each other as a team, connection to the company, connection to making a difference in the world, because every organization is making a difference in the world. So we need to connect teams to that, with that difference that the organization is making in the world. And that this all boils down to purpose.
Mm-hmm. And do you feel, and at the end of the day, businesses are in business to make profit. Otherwise, they can't exist. They can't afford to pay staff. They can't afford premises. Do you feel yourself, and I think you touched on it earlier on, that if people are more joyous about going to their work, that they connect more with their team, that the business will become more fruitful?
100%. Like, if I enjoy what I do, and if I'm seeing that I can make a difference every day, um, of course I'm going to enjoy I'm going to perform better. I'm going to show up better for my work colleagues, and I'm going to show up better for my customers, for the customers of the organization. So this is a absolute ripple effect. Okay, so we've we've got this engagement in work. I'm happy in work. Now, of course, I'm going to go the extra mile to look after my customers. So it is good customer experience, and to increase turnover has to start with our people. Having a product is one thing, but we need our people to deliver that product. And if they're not 100% happy or engaged, they're not going to deliver that product as well as they could be if they were engaged.
And isn't it something that makes you return to a business that as a customer or client, you feel that you matter? I actually matter. And yes, I bought something from them, but I matter. And it must be the same for staff working in a business, that I actually matter.
Yeah, and like there's two things. So that I matter, that I'm making a difference. Okay, and we have to help each member of our team. We have to show them the difference they're making. So it doesn't matter where they work. If they're working in sales, if they're they're picking a box in a warehouse, both them people, that salesperson and that person picking a box, are making a difference to a customer somewhere. Okay, so we have to connect to the difference that everybody in the organization can make to a customer's life. And even going around, so this is what I do for a living. But I walk into restaurants, coffee shops, petrol stations, and it's when I meet someone that's smiling and happy in their job, it makes me feel good, and I'm leaving that petrol station in good form. Whereas if you go into a petrol station or a coffee shop and someone's not engaged and they're grumpy or they're moaning or you can clearly see they don't want to be here, the likelihood is I'm not going to go back to that place.
Paddy, just back, I'm going to go back to yourself here, and we're talking about authenticity, about people being real. And sometimes we become the people pleaser. We mold ourselves how we think we should be because I suppose our own role models, we think we have to behave and act like people above us or before us have done. But you had said, I remember you saying that you spent 35 years of your life not being you. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so before I came out, so I came out when I was 35. So I would have spent, 35 years, apart from time I was really, really young. So I just spent years being somebody else, trying to be someone else, putting on this mask, trying to be someone who I wasn't. Okay, so I wasn't being my authentic self. And so what's happening? Say from a neuroscience point of view, we have a part of our brain and an area in the prefrontal cortex, which is where we do all our kind of executive thinking. It's part of the brain we need to be working from the whole time. Now, there's a part of that brain that has like a braking system, Evelyn. So stop us from eating that extra slice of cake, right? But so it's like if you can imagine brake pads on a car. Okay, so every time you push a brake pad, it's wearing down. Now, when I'm not being my true self, so when I wasn't being my true self, okay, not my authentic self, this braking system was on, okay, because I had to hide, certain emotions. I had to hide who I was. So this braking system was on every single day, okay, using up loads of my brain energy, okay, every single day, using up energy to be someone who I wasn't. Now, if we're being inauthentic, okay, and over time, if we're not being ourselves, we can't show up as ourselves. Okay, these brake pads in our brains, it's very same as in a car. They'll keep wearing down, Evelyn. And you know what happens when if your brake pads in your car goes, you're going to be in trouble. Okay, and this can it's going to lead to stress. It's going to lead to burnout. So yeah, for me, knowing what I know now, I go, wow, the amount of time that I spent being inauthentic, I suppose. But I suppose I had to go through that to be where I am now. So so that's why I'm on this mission to make organizations more human. So let's bring our whole selves to work. Okay, let's try and remove these masks, and this requires a huge amount of vulnerability.
Yeah. And it might not be today or tomorrow, but yourself when you step into workplaces, I suppose it comes from leadership. Is it hard for people to change their way of thinking how staff should be, or they have a perceived idea? No, this is the way it was when I was growing up. This is how it should still remain because this other stuff's far too soft. It involves emotions.
Yeah, and it does have to start from the top. And yes, it does take time because so over time, we're going to have wired our brain to this is how we should perform. Okay, so here's my expectations, and if I'm asking a leader to be vulnerable, to show, because if we want our teams to be vulnerable, the leader has to demonstrate vulnerability. Okay, to go, here I am as a person. Okay, so yes, it does take time, and because what we're doing, we're rewiring our brain. We're changing the makeup of our brain. So we're changing our ways of thinking. We're changing ways of doing things. So it does take time, but when it happens, the shift in organizations is huge, huge.
Yeah. And all for the greater of everyone, not just business life, but home life and your customers' experience life. We have no idea, I think, sometimes the huge importance of showing up as our best self and the ripple effect that has for humanity.
Yeah, and I believe, just you mentioned humanity. I believe, the evolution of humanity is about us becoming more authentic, removing these masks. That's the next evolution, and it's going to take time. But if we can see people, for who they are, not what they do, and we engage in these, like I see these lovely conversations when we do this work in organizations, and you hear people go, "Oh my God, I never knew that about you," because we ask this, and you see it, you hear this question the whole time, and it's done in a very, it's something that we have to do. You say to someone, "How are you?" Okay, and there's no meaning behind it. It's just like, "How are you?"
They don't want to know. It's just,
yeah,
it's like,
you're just like, "Oh, don't tell me."
how are you doing? How are you doing? Not so bad, grand. On you go. And it's always the not so bad that, good. How about yourself? And you're like, holy smoke, I didn't expect a full conversation here.
yeah, it is. It's, and like there's nothing as nice and as lovely as when someone says to you, "How are you?" and to just sit and listen to you.
I would say that is everybody's dream. I was speaking to a lady this morning. She was saying her son last year didn't want to go to school. Oh, it brought me back to those days, fighting with them to go out to school. And I thought, imagine if, I'll take example schools, that the teachers were, I can't wait to get into it. I love what I do. And the children were just equally as excited.
Yeah.
I love what I do. And then we transpire that into the workplace. My boss loves, he or she just loves what they do. I love working there. It's just a fabulous place to work. And then, we see it as business and home life, but it has to be the same at home too. I love going to their house. They're wonderful people. Just, they see me, they have time for me. And yeah, we're there to do a job. Do you feel that perhaps bosses might have a concept that, look, if I get into all of this emotion stuff and allow people to share things, they're going to slack off here. They're going to think I'm a bit soft on them. So I have to be firm here to get the work done.
We do need to be firm. Okay, so we're in a job. Okay, so we've got a job to do. So this is not about, okay, everyone coming in and having to crack, right?
Yeah.
And everyone slacking and everyone talking about their emotions. No, this is, we've got a job to do. But if we can connect with each other, on this human level and do our work well together, then we're going to create this better workplace. But there is that element of accountability, 100%. We need that accountability within the workplace. But accountability, people become more accountable for themselves when they feel engaged in their job. So if I genuinely love what I do, and I love when I go into organizations to hear, Paddy, I actually love my job. I was very, very lucky in my last job that I was able to say, I actually love my job. Like I love my job because the culture was right. The leader was great. I just did my work. So no one had to be firm on me because I just did my work because I enjoyed what I did, number one, and I had autonomy to get on with my work. And plus to be connected on this human level, which is really important.
Paddy, I'm going to start winding things up here now. You have a webinar coming up now, if you want to share that out.
Yeah, so I'm doing a webinar with a great guy called David Gann, okay? And it's called Leading with Mental Wellbeing. think employers, or some employers can be scared to have these conversations. They don't know how to have these conversations because they haven't been trained to have conversations. So myself and Dave, we met through local enterprise board, and you know, he's in the mental health area. I'm passionate about mental health. So the two of us have combined to do this webinar to help leaders understand mental health, how to have that conversation around mental health, around well-being in the workplace. Because again, here's bringing our emotions to work. So why we're doing our webinar is to help leaders. That's our purpose. Great. So to help leaders have these conversations.
Fabulous. Can you give us where people will get the time, date, or sign up for this? Is it on your social media pages?
Yeah, it's on my social media pages. So it's October 13th at 1 p.m. Irish time, and it's on my social media. So you'll find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. So it's Paddy Moran, Neuro coach, and then my website then is paddy-moran.com.
Paddy-moran.com. Well, Paddy, thank you so much for being on today. And yeah, if we can deliver that message to be authentic. And when you start remembering, oh, this is me, it can become effortless authenticity. Do you believe that, Paddy? It's effortless to be authentic?
Absolutely. It can be. Absolutely. 100% it can be. And you know, and it's just really getting to know ourselves, you know, so who am I? You know, what's my purpose? What's my values? And then show up in the world and to make a difference when you're clear in this. Yeah.
Yeah. Paddy, I could spend ages talking away to you, but thank you so much for your time today, your knowledge, your wisdom, your lovely company. And I hope anyone that's listening to this, that you've benefited from it. And if anyone wants to reach out to Paddy to help out in their organization, you will get all his details on social media pages, and I'll put a link to his website in the description of this podcast. Paddy Moran, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Evelyn.